Let's talk to Nigel Farage, the leader of the Brexit Party, who has come to Talk Radio fresh from a barnstorming speech in which he managed to just name the Prime Minister of Luxembourg as a pipsqueak. I can't say I disagree with you, Nigel. Very good morning to you.
Good morning. Yeah, I thought for me it was quite polite, really.
Well, there could have been a lot of other names used, I suppose, but it was a great speech. I just listened to it, where you basically said to Guy Verhofstadt, you know, the great fear of the European Union is that Britain leaves it without a deal and then marches on to greater economic prosperity.
That's right. I mean, what Verhofstadt was saying, it was, we will not allow the United Kingdom to be off our shores and undercutting us in regulation, undercutting us, and painting out that undercutting was some terrible thing. And actually, what they really fear here is that we become more competitive, because it is a global economy, and if we become more competitive, there'll be more investment coming into our country, and we will be more prosperous than they are. That is their ultimate nightmare, and that's why the backstop was originally put into the withdrawal agreement. It was put there to try and keep us trapped inside the European Union's customs union and single market. That's been the game from the very start.
And are you worried, Nigel, that the deal that Boris Johnson is cooking up, because I believe that he is cooking up a deal, because he's running everybody down the road of, oh my God, we've got to stop no deal, and he's going to suddenly produce something out of a hat, which may not be that different from what we've seen before from Theresa May?
I'm really sorry to say, but I was talking this morning to both Mr. Juncker and Mr. Barnier, the big cheeses, as it were, in Brussels.
Yeah, fromage.
Grand fromages, absolutely. And what's absolutely clear is their tone about Boris Johnson has changed. They sounded very emollient today, and I think we are inches away from a deal being done on the 17th, 18th of October at the next European summit in Brussels, where they give a bit in terms of the wording of the backstop. Boris comes back to London waving a piece of paper, calling it a great triumph, and I worry that all the focus on one aspect of the withdrawal agreement, or more accurately, as we should call it, the new European treaty, even without the backstop, it's the worst deal in history. It leaves us tied inside European Union rules, subject to a foreign court, costs us $39 billion, and for any future trade deal, we're relying on their good faith and will. And I really think Boris Johnson must not be allowed to get away with saying that the withdrawal agreement without the backstop is somehow Brexit, because it is not.
But if he does come back with something like that and he manages to hoodwink everybody who has been against the bill in the first place and the withdrawal bill that they've seen before, if they all vote for it, it goes through Parliament, goes through the Houses of Commons and the Lords. I mean, what can you do to stop it?
Well, that would be Brexit in name only. And there would have to be a subsequent general election in which the Brexit Party would have to say, look, we're stuck. This doesn't work. We have to undo Boris's dreadful deal.
And what about Guy Verhofstadt and his visitation to the Lib Dem conference? The Lib Dems, of course, who now say that they are the choice for respect, hope and democracy, having decided that they will actually cancel Brexit altogether. What about his speech? Can you imagine if he made that Empire speech about the British Empire and how brilliant the British Empire was and how we should go back to that?
Oh, we'd all be racists, wouldn't we? We'd all be bigots. We'd all be murderers. We'd all be guilty of genocide. Look, he was very clear that the EU is going to become a global empire. And I do not think there are very many people in the United Kingdom who would want any part of that. And that's the truth of it. We've had 50 years of being told, don't worry your little head. It's just all about trade and being good neighbours. It is not. They are building a superstate in which the nation state virtually ceases to function in any democratic sense. And I thought, in a way, Verhofstadt did us all a favour.
Is there any sense for you that there is no way that we can get out of it by October the 31st, though? Because time pretty much is against everybody here, isn't it?
Well, I think in terms of getting just a genuine free trade deal, yes, of course, in the next 45 days, that ain't going to happen. We could leave, of course, with a clean break Brexit on the 31st of October, although Parliament has done its best to stop Boris from doing it. I think, to be honest with you, the only way we leave this thing is we need to have a general election, and if Boris goes for a clean break Brexit, I would then work with him and support him. He'd win a big parliamentary majority, and we'd get the job done.
Now, we keep hearing that there may be wheels within wheels between you guys and the Tories. Is there anything that you can tell me about conversations that might have been had either behind closed doors or in corridors or in smoke-filled rooms like they used to be?
Well, look, I would say this. If Boris goes down the route of Mrs May's deal, reheated with a couple of amendments, there is no prospect of us working together whatsoever. None at all. So let's hope he decides that's not the right route. Let's hope he decides that a clean break is the right route. If he does, then I think coming to an accommodation will be very straightforward. And there are a lot of people, in fact, a big majority of people in the Conservatives and the Brexit Party that would be happy for one election only to put tribal loyalty aside, to have a non-aggression pact. And as I say, we'd be unstoppable, we'd win.
If I put to you a scenario whereby Boris Johnson completely refutes any decision made by this court, which is currently going on down in sort of kangaroo land in the Supreme Court, if he was to say, forget about that, forget about the Hillary Benn Act, we're going to go for a no-deal Brexit because that is the European law under which we are currently sort of ruled. He then does that. They force him into an election. You join hands with him, and the job is done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He would win a big majority of 50 to 100 seats. He would smash Corbyn. He would have a parliament that was elected to deliver a clean Brexit. And for me, that's the best outcome. I think for a lot of us, it's the best outcome because at least we'd get this thing done and be able to get on with the rest of our lives.
Is that the plan?
Well, look, that's my plan. I don't yet know what his is.
Okay.
I fear, at the moment, he appears to be heading in the wrong direction.
And when are we going to see your manifesto, Nigel, finally?
That's a swear word. Manifestos are things produced by Labour and Conservative parties, and indeed Liberal Democrats, which are just open, willful deceptions to the public. They never even intend to keep them. And what I'm going to produce is a contract with the British people.